Welcome into a special edition of the College Countdown. I'm Jason Ross Jr. That's Genna Rose. March Madness has arrived, and there is no better time to be a basketball fan. We are breaking down the round of 64 today in studio. Friday was fantastic. Enthralling matchups, overtime finishes, upsets. Today is Saturday, and Michigan is set to take on the number 16 seed Texas Southern Tigers. Michigan is a number 1 seed. What do they have to do to get the job done today against TSU?
Point guard play is vital for the Wolverines, especially in the absence of 6'7" forward Isaiah Livers, and Mike Smith is up to the challenge. Michigan fans are hoping to see a resurrection from Smith, where during his last performance against Ohio State in the Big Ten semifinals, he was only 1 for 11 from the field. Smith's capability to score will force the defense to respect him as an offensive threat, as opposed to double-teaming big man Hunter Dickinson, who's coming in with at least a 4-inch height advantage on the Tigers lineup, making Michigan all the more dynamic offensively. Staying on the note of offensive proficiency, Michigan has multiple players who can make shots from beyond the arc, with Wagner, Brown Jr., Brooks, and Johns Jr. all making over 38% of three-point attempts. Now, Jason, going over to the Tigers, most of their offensive production will come from within the arc because they're only shooting just under 28% from the three. Now, for Michigan, that's a huge bonus because defensively, they are number 1 in the conference when it comes to opponent field goal percentage, just allowing teams to shoot over 39% from the field. So there's a lot of things going on in this matchup, and Michigan is already the 25.5-point favorite.
It's certainly quite the hurdle that Texas Southern will have to overcome today because Michigan is stacked. So I'm going to start talking about Texas Southern's defensive needs today. You noted how tall Dickinson is, 7'1". Likely, Texas Southern will have to post double him, which means their defensive rotations on the perimeter will be very important. Finding whoever is open and then providing help defense as well, but rotating smoothly on the perimeter as a defense is going to be super important for the Tigers today. And then offensively, typically in an upset, you need some sort of an equalizer, and usually that's the three-point shot. But as you noted, Jen, Texas Southern doesn't really have that. They only take 4.6 attempts per game, which ranks dead last in the country. However, one of their potential equalizers, if you will, could be speeding up the tempo. They do play at a slightly faster pace than Michigan does. Looking at the numbers, the Tigers usually average about 71.7 possessions per game, while Michigan averages 66.8, so a slightly slower style. And then again, offensively, a bounce-back game from guard Michael Weathers, who leads Texas Southern in points per game this year at 16.5 per, will be very important because Weathers is a guy who can score 30 points in the game if he wants to. However, only went 3 for 11 from the field against Mount St. Mary's a couple of days ago for 8 points. So they'll need maybe 30 points and a bit more from him if Texas Southern does have any chance of being the number 2 team to ever pull off an upset over a number 1 seed in the NCAA Tournament.